Welcome to another episode of Chocks and Crocs.
Hey, welcome back to our channel. Today I have a full campground review of Spacious Skies Shenandoah Views. It's a great campground and also a great stop if you're planning a visit to Shenandoah National Park. Let's hop right into it and I'll tell you more. Spacious Skies Shenandoah Views is located in Luray, Virginia. It's a great jumping off point for visiting both Luray Caverns and Shenandoah National Park. Coming up the entry here, you'll see the office and camp store where you check in and register. And right next door is where you can get your golf cart or hang out in their entertainment zone where they have gem mining, a small arcade, a little patio for sitting and having a coffee or some snacks, and two nice pools. We were here in early April, so the pools were closed, but here's a sneak peek at the larger pool. And there also is a smaller wading pool for the kiddos. On this side, we have the dog park, their Cosmic Canine Commons. It was a really nice park. It had large shade trees, some benches to sit on, some hills for the dogs to run around. And all in all, our dog really loved it. It was plenty big for him to run around and lots of shade to keep him cool. As we continue up the road, here is a view of the RV sites. There are many different types. Here is a view of the rear of the pergola sites that they have here, and they're beautiful. We stayed in one of those, and I'll show you that a little later. Here we start having some back-end sites. They have patios, picnic tables, fire pits. And essentially this campground is structured like a big square around a center common area. So you'll see that here. So the sites are all around this center green. That's your main area. There's a bathhouse down this road, some more back-in sites. And here at the bathhouse, you have a men's and women's restroom and a laundry facility. The women's room was adequate. It was a little messy when we were here. It had some toilets and a changing room. And all in all, it was in pretty good shape. We did utilize the laundry room and found it sufficient as well. They had plenty of operable washer and dryers. Now let's take a closer look at these sites. So here are some back-end sites, and they back up to some trees. And then there are these pull-throughs, but they're not your traditional pull-through. They're more of a horseshoe shaped. And the pull-throughs here are on the perimeter of this center green. So here again are these really large back-end sites. This park is definitely big rig friendly, so there is no issue with that. And here is how you get to the center green. Unfortunately, there isn't a public walkway, so you kind of just walk in between sites, which was a little strange. But when you walk through the sites, you have this center area. These sites, the really cool thing about them is that they're two-tiered. So they have this second tier with chairs and a fire pit. So you have your upper area with your table and then that lower tier, which is right by the playground. So if you have little kids, it's a great site to have because you can sit and lounge at that lower tier and, you know, look at your kids on the playground or the bounce pad. Again, here are the sites around that green area. And in the center green, there is a playground, a bounce pad, a little pavilion, a picnic area. There's a small building there also that has pool, I think, and I think you can rent it out. Here's some more of those sites that are those pull-throughs. And the playground, which was a nice little playground. It's a very small campground. It's not a sprawling campground, but it has sprawling views. We had site number 18, which was a beautiful pergola site overlooking spectacular vistas of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It was a full hookup site. It had a patio and two-tiered entertaining area. The top tier had a picnic table, and the lower tier had a fire pit and Adirondack chairs. It was an absolutely spectacular site. And it was one of the nicest sites I think we've ever had at a private campground, so we really enjoyed it a lot. It was spacious enough, it's not huge, but having those two tiers really made it special. Okay, let's look at the amenities here. They have gem mining. They have a little arcade here that is open 24 hours. It has a couple of fun games, claw games, some of those little vending machines, and some candies, and a change machine in it as well. So you can get change to play the games. I think we lost some money on one of the games. It wasn't really working, but we still had fun. Now for the highs and lows of this campground. First, the highs. The proximity to Shenandoah National Park can't be beat. We are 17 minutes away from this Thornton Gap Entrance station, and so it was really close to get to the Bird Visitor Center. The views here were stunning. We have beautiful views of the Blue Ridge Mountains and gorgeous sunsets. It was a beautiful sight. And now the lows. So we were there early in the season, and that might be why we've seized some of these things, but we felt like it needed a little updating. The picnic table was in pretty poor condition. We covered it up, but still, I expected more than this. We also felt like we didn't really see a lot of staff around the grounds at all. The camp store was only open for very limited hours, and we found that it needed some tidying up. So the arcade had lots of candy on the floor, dead bugs all over. They also still had papers out from the fall, from an activity that they were doing, I guess, in October. So those were still laid out in April. So all in all, I felt like they just need to clean it up a little. All right, what do you do if you come to this campground? Well, you visit Shenandoah National Park. That's what you do. You go on a nice trip to Skyline Drive. It's right here. It's beautiful. It's very easily accessible. And these views just can't be beat. We were there pretty much every day for a week because it was so easy to get in and out of the park. The Bird Visitor Center was impressive. They have a junior ranger program for the kids. They have a museum that's interactive that tells about the history of the area, a nice little gift shop, and overall it was a wonderful experience. And you can access this by going through that Thornton Gap entrance and then going south. It's also not far from Big Meadows and the lodges over there. Okay, if you're in Luray, you have to go to Luray Caverns. This is spectacular. the videos and the pictures just don't do it justice, what it's like walking around these caverns. And the grounds where the caverns are actually contain a bunch of different sites. So they have the caverns, which you go and take your own self-guided tour around. It's handicap accessible, you can bring strollers down. Then they also have this carriage museum as part of their same grounds, and we walked around there and were very impressed. And then they have this really cool hedge maze there. We got lost in this maze. I mean, it was hard, but super fun. There are misters along the way to keep you cool, and little clues if you feel lost. There's also an observation tower where you can look down at the maze. So I highly recommend going here.
Thanks for watching Chalks and Crocs. Until next time, keep adventuring.